Nope.
He's coming out your way, Siobhan.
He's in the water.
He's coming to you, Siobhan. Straight to you. Straight to you.
Oh, I see him.
You.
He's coming out of the grass, Siobhan, right in front of you.
I don't see him. Shit.
He's actually, I think he's just chilling in the grass right now. Right where the little tree is. There he is.
Did you get him?
No, he's over there. So.
You missed that.
He's right there. He's right there.
Come here. Too fast. Nope, he's gone. Alright everybody, so I know we haven't had a lot of time to make herping videos this year, but we made our way out to North Carolina. We're out in the Outer Banks. It's a great area, a lot of localized herping, very condensed with the herp populations in certain areas. We got in last night about 3 a.m. Brain was a little fried this morning, didn't feel like getting out of bed. So we took a late morning, out in the afternoon. It's also rainy, a lot of overcast today. But overcast is also good for some of the thicker bodied snakes. We decided to take this little maritime trail out here. It's a marshy trail, brings in the brackish water out from the oceans and close by bays. One thing that's really good about that is this water supports a lot of life. It's a very heavy ecosystem out here. What's really cool is we came out here, there were a lot of turtles out here. Nothing more than what looked to be yellow belly sliders. I was hoping to see maybe a diamondback terrapin, but haven't got that guy yet. But I did notice something really cool along this this edge of the sawgrasses over here. There is actually a cottonmouth over here. It's one of the 2 venomous snakes that live out here in the Outer Banks. This is really cool. There's actually a turtle swimming right up to the cottonmouth. If you want to come check this out, that's kind of cool. The turtle's just swimming right up to him, doesn't even see that he's there, or he does and doesn't care. Maybe they're friends. Oh nope, he noticed him. He said, I'm out of here. So that turtle looked to be like a little small yellow belly. He started going up. I guess he wanted to get out of the water. He was looking for some sun. I don't think he noticed that cottonmouth sitting there, but you could tell when he did because he turned around and went right back in the water. That's so cool to see stuff like that. Like I said, it's a real condensed ecosystem out here, and I think we're going to be in for a good week.
When you first look at these toads here, you might think they're actually a different species, but in fact, both these toads here that I have in my hand are both southern toads. So toads themselves vary in color a lot, and especially the southern toad. I'm going to go ahead and put them down because they're trying to hop. Get some zoom in photos of them. Don't want to drop them. But toads actually vary a lot in color, and especially down here in the south, the southern toad actually gets this real reddish hue. It's really, really neat to see. I don't know, hopefully Matt got the darker one there on film, but the one that we get up north is a lot, it's just the American toad, and he doesn't get that red in him, so they're just really neat to see down here.
We got a black racer over here basking in the sun. Yeah, these guys are a very slender snake. They are extremely fast. I'm gonna give it my best to try and grab him so you can get a good look at him, but I'm probably not gonna be able to catch him because they're so fast. So let's see if I can get a handle on him. And there he goes. I'm not even gonna go for it. Guys, we just passed that racer not too long ago. We didn't get a chance to get him. Like I said, racers are very fast. I didn't want to chase him through the woods. But so we're out here checking some of these basking spots deeper in the forest where the canopy opens up and lets a lot of sunlight through. They're great spots for basking for reptiles. And obviously we had one out here. Now this is locally known, or used to be known, as the yellow rat snake. They got reclassified to all of the eastern rat snake, which includes a couple other, or they were subspecies of rat snake. But up north where we have the eastern rat snake, they are all black. basically we don't really get a variation in color in Maryland. But the further south you go, you get this yellow rat snake. They have a very yellow coloration to their body, and they get these long, dark black stripes along their body. They are a very beautiful rat snake. He has this really golden yellow belly. They are such a docile snake. Usually, you kind of have to grab them first. Usually, they can be pretty bitey at first, but once you get them in your hands, they usually calm down and kind of just want to go about their own way. But these guys, they're built for climbing. So, I mean, there's a good chance he's living in this tree right here.
So earlier we were talking about how we were looking in the basking spots to find the snakes, because what they do is they sit in the sunny spots to thermal regulate, which is when they regulate their body temperature. So they heat themselves up using the sun. So we found that rat snake just out in the leaf litter through, sun coming through the trees, and it was really cool. But what's unique behind me is there's actually a cottonmouth, and he's kind of stretched out on the bank, if you can zoom in a little bit. And what's cool about them is they actually will thermal regulate right along the edge of the bank, or if it's a swamp or a river, stream, whichever. Snakes that are specific to a water habitat. This is actually how they will sun themselves, and they just lay there, and then they'll wait for lunch or dinner to come by, or swim by, or hop by, and it's just a really, really cool to see them actually just sitting there, just waiting. Really neat snake. He's coming towards us.
What?
He's moving.
Oh shit. Oh, look how colorful he is.
So cool the way he swims. He's rubbing his face against the twigs and branches. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, he's trying to break his shed.
He's trying to break his shed. Look at him. This is really fascinating to watch.
I wanted to open his mouth again. Can't believe I missed that shot.
He's opening it.
Just facing the other way.
And that's...
Did you get that on film?
I did.
Oh, that's awesome. He's gonna keep doing it because he's trying to break his skin so he can get a grasp on it.
So normally what gives the cottonmouth its name is when he feels threatened, he'll coil and he'll show his mouth. And if you saw that shot there, he's opened his mouth briefly, but it actually wasn't to threaten us. It was, he's rubbing his face on the twigs and the trees and everything. He's trying to break his shed. So he's opening his mouth there, and he's trying to break it to try to get it off. It's really fascinating to watch the snake do something like this, especially in the wild like this, especially at Cottonmouth. I like when he looks right at us.
We came up on a portion of the trail that's got kind of like a culvert on one side of the trail to us. It's full of water. So we're walking along, and Siobhan yells, "Snake!" And I look down. Oh, he is freaking out. Look at him go. There's a little ribbon snake just kind of darting across the trail. Now, what he's doing right now is they are a type of water snake, and a lot of times when you catch them, they'll do kind of like a death roll. They'll spin around really fast because they want to get away from ever it has got a hold of them. It helps them get away from a lot of at a small stature like this. It can help them get away. Crayfish can actually prey on them, and they can grab them, and spinning like that can help them get out of the claws of the crayfish. But the way we know that this guy here, he's a ribbon snake, is they're easily mixed up with garter snakes. Is the ribbon snake actually has a kind of like a crescent moon right in front of his eye. They don't have checkers. They have stripes all along down their body. Now, I don't know if you can see the crescent moon I'm talking about, but if you look right in front of his eye, there's it's like a yellowish green scale right in front of his eye. Now, one thing that this guy's, he's not doing it now, but when I first grabbed him, he was gaping his mouth open real wide. I've actually had a lot of ribbon snakes do that to me. They'll open their mouth and they'll show you the inside of their mouth, like I guess they want to imitate a cottonmouth. I'm not sure what that's about, but I guess it works for them because I'm sure they've been doing it for centuries.
This here is a hognose snake, and this is literally the snake that got me into herping. I think we were back here in 2005 maybe. Matt and I had just started dating not too long before, and we found one of these, and they're just absolutely fascinating. So this guy here, you can see he keeps flexing his hood. So this is what makes these snakes so unique and so fascinating. Like I said, they're called the hognose snake. I'm sorry, I'm so excited about finding one of these. So you see here, he flexes his hood, and it's kind of like a cobra. So it's this defense mechanism where they show you the hood, and they hope it kind of scares you away. And when you don't, leave them alone or whatever, what they'll do is they'll actually roll over and they'll play dead. And I'm gonna try to get, we're just gonna try to get some footage of him and get some pictures before he plays dead, because it's actually very, very stressful for the animal. So we really don't want that to happen. But what happens is they kind of curl up in a ball, and then they start kind of spiraling, and they're just like spinning in circles almost. And they'll actually roll over on their back, stick out their tongue, their eyes will roll in the back of their head, and sometimes they'll even expel their bowels. So, and it gives off this horrible stench. So they're just trying to scare people away from trying to eat him because he's just so gross. So this was one of our target species of the trip, and Matt and I are going to now try to take some pictures and just look at this color pattern on them. They're beautiful snakes. They're so cool. I absolutely love them.
It's now nightfall. We decided to try our luck out here on some of this coastal swamp habitat. We're just kind of driving some of these little back roads down in the swamps. And I don't know if you can hear it, but there's a lot of tree frog activity. They're going crazy out here. It's kind of amazing to just hear. Now it is midsummer. This is the time of year a lot of tree frogs, they actually breed this time of year, so they're calling. They're looking for mates. Now there's actually a gray tree frog right up here on this tree, if you can see him. Just kind of hanging out. I kind of spooked him a little bit with my light, but if you want to come in here closer and get a good look at him, he's a really pretty frog. He's got this yellow coloration here under his legs. I think that's really neat looking. That's very pretty. I mean, we get these guys at home. I'm not sure down here if they're considered a Cope's gray tree frog or if they're just the regular gray tree frog that we get at home. The main reason you could tell the difference between those, that they're almost identical in any visual aspect. The main difference is their call. Alright, so one thing you want to watch out for when you're flipping logs, obviously if you're out looking for snakes and things, you always want to watch out for rattlesnakes because you never know. You just want to be sure what you're flipping. One thing that a lot of people might not think of is spiders. I actually came over here and I noticed a spider web on the underside of this log kind of sticking out. It is actually a black widow spider web. You can see the spider right here. This is a venomous spider. You do not want to get bit by one of these. They have been known to put people in comas for a couple days. You will definitely, if you get bit by one, you will not want to move for the next few days. You might even end up in the hospital very easily. She actually turned upside down for us so you can see the signature hourglass on the underside of the black widow. But if you can't see that, the black widow also has kind of like a red heart-shaped pattern on the backside. But just, you got to be real careful when flipping for stuff because they do build their webs on the ground. They don't build them elevated usually. So just be very mindful of where you're putting your hands when looking for creatures.
I know it's probably hard to see, but what I have in my hand here is actually a little ground snake. And this is actually the smallest skink here. I'm trying to turn my hand here a little bit so you can see it better. He's moving. I just don't want him to jump. And these are normally they're pretty small. They only get to about 4 to 5 inches fully grown. This one, like I said, is particularly small. It's no surprise that we found it here in North Carolina, you know, in this habitat that we're walking through right now, because they do prefer the coastal, the habitat, the sandy soil and stuff like that. One fact that's really neat about them is they actually have this translucent eyelid, so when they're burrowing underground, they actually can still see out their eye. So it's pretty handy, especially for these guys, because they can still see and not get that debris in their eye.
It's the middle of the day, heat of the day. We decided to come check around the edges of some of these swamps, spooking in tons and tons of frogs. I was hoping to find a snake, and I mean, we just hit it right on the money. It was a good thing we walked over here in a little open area. There is a plain-bellied water snake right here in the water. He's kind of hard to see. He's submerged a little bit under the duckweed. His head's poking out. His tail's over some of the fallen brush on the bank here. This is a really pretty snake. They are all plain-bellied water snakes at this point, but in this area, there was a mixture of plain-bellied and red-bellied, but they all got reclassified as the plain-bellied water snake. This one here, his belly is a little orange, kind of a mixture of like the yellowish and reddish together, which is really cool. Back home, whenever we see them, they're all bright red. But this is a very, very cool sight to see, just seeing a snake like that with his head periscoped above the water, because they actually can't breathe underwater, so they need to keep their head above water because they do breathe air. They can't breathe underwater. When they're submerged under the water, a lot of times they'll hold their breath when looking for fish, or they'll actually root themselves to like a root bottom, and they'll actually stick their body straight up, and their head will stick out of the top of the water because they need the air to breathe. And that's also really cool to see. You're probably not going to see too much of that here with this swamp covered in duckweed. It'd be very hard to see something like that, but just seeing that alone, it's amazing.
I'm just filming. It's going to be a lot
The snake's moving very, very slowly towards the frog. I mean, very, very slowly.
Yeah, you can see him.
Just imagine if you had to eat like this.
Oh!
I missed. It's midday. It's getting a little hot. So we decided to take a break from some of the, you know, inland forest areas. Basking spots aren't doing too good for snakes. We actually did see a spotted turtle earlier, which was actually really cool. Unfortunately, we didn't get him on video. But we're out here, we're taking a little boardwalk around a lake, and got this little green anole here. These guys they're fairly uncommon around here. I know some of you herpers down south, you know, it's just an anole to you, but I'm from the north. I don't see anoles every day, so this is actually really cool. Like I said, they are uncommon down here. It's kind of cool that we actually found it's very common to see them on boardwalks like this. They love to come out in these open boardwalks. They get a lot of sun, so it's really not a surprise we found them out here. But one thing that's kind of cool about this, I know I said he's a green anole. He definitely doesn't look like a green anole. They are very variable in color. This one here, he's very dull, very brown. A lot of it has to do with just the temperature, time of year. Even their mood can change their color a little bit. A lot of times when they get stressed out a lot, they get really black, dark circles around their eyes. Kind of like how a lot of us look when we first get up real early in the morning. But it's just really cool to see this guy here. Well, for me, because I don't see him very often. So we're going to go ahead and put him down. We probably already ruined his life enough. There you go, little friend. Whoop.
See, I know he's there, but I can't
right
find him on the camera.
I hope that was a good one take.
Yeah.
Because it's not happening again. If he's there, if he's going to stay there.